Hello, my dear friends. How are you doing? Hope you are having an amazing day and not having to deal with drama. Ready for new stories I have for you today? Let's go to the first one. And don't forget to listen to the end of the story, guys, to hear my insights. Enjoy the stories. And don't forget to like and subscribe. And of course, don't forget to leave a comment. My mother and I have a rocky relationship, and I stopped caring about it a few years ago. We reconnected, for a lack of a better word, last year. Earlier this year, she was diagnosed with terminal cancer. We looked into hospice and palliative care, but the good and decent ones had no beds. She was renting a house, but she let my mentally unstable sister move in, and she basically kicked our mom out of her own house. There's another sibling, but she lives in another state and is pregnant, and another sister who's living in a small apartment with her kids as her house is being remodeled. So it fell on to me to let my mom move in back in March. I was under the assumption that my mom was flat broke. My out-of-state sister was the one handling her finances. I ended up picking up the tab on several things like co-pays, her cell phone bill, grocery, and I pay my maid extra money to basically babysit her. I've started to dig into my savings, which I've never done, to cover costs. All of my siblings are crying poverty. I told her that I needed to start putting together her paperwork, and she became evasive and hostile. I thought she was scared about facing her mortality. I found some legal stuff, including her will, which was signed before she moved in with me. This B has $750K and asked that it be divided between my three siblings. I get nothing. The daughter who rang up $3,000 on her dying mom's credit card on W, Uber Eats, and tattoos gets $250K. But the daughter who helps her off the toilet and spent $1,300 on a bed gets $0. This isn't a misunderstanding. The only time my name was mentioned in the will was to confirm that I was being left out. I confronted her about it, and she said she didn't think I needed money, and I'm the only kid without kids. I said, so? You were going to use me to take care of you, and then basically tell me to F off when you die? She said she would change it, and I was right and she was wrong. I said, don't bother. You have to move out. She said she has a couple of months to live. She said she can't move back into her rental that she's paying $2,000 a month for because she's scared of my sister. And she wouldn't survive a road trip to my other sister who is due any day. And there's no room at my other sister's place. My house is clean, quiet, and by the beach. I sent an email to my siblings telling them that she had a week to leave, and if you don't take her, then I'll arrange for the cops to do it. They know I'll do it too. They'll probably take her to some county hospital. Of course, my siblings are mad at me. I'm not looking for advice. I spoke to several professionals from lawyers to CPAs. I do not owe my mother anything. If the roles were reversed, then she'd lose no sleep over me sleeping on the streets with cancer. Wow! So OP's mom considers OP less worthy of her money because OP doesn't have kids, but is happy using OP's money. She's had time to change her will, and now is admitting she's not right here just because OP found out, and she's afraid to get kicked out. She wants support from OP in her last days, but doesn't want to leave OP any after she passed. OP is in a horrible situation because her mother is basically on her deathbed, but that doesn't make her a better person if she doesn't treat OP right. There's no excuse for someone to take advantage of OP, dying or not. And now let's hear the community's opinion. Not the a-hole. Cancer or no cancer, she sounds like a horrible, manipulative woman. She's allowing you to eat into your savings and risk your financial stability to take care of her. And she's not only left you out of her will, but actively made sure you definitely aren't in it. She says she won't move back to her house because she's scared of your sister, but she's still leaving her $250,000 and you nothing. She's not admitting she's wrong. She's just been caught out. Not the a-hole. She needs to get her house back. If you've got a lawyer to talk to, get ready with an eviction notice and some police so she can go to her own house and kick out sister. Or if she's got the $750K, she can pay for her own care and rent and whatever else you're spending. Her money is to fund her life, and the leftovers are supposed to be inheritance, not bleeding your savings so hers remain untouched. She has $750K and can't find a room somewhere? Sucks to be her, not the a-hole. I'm 29 male. My parents divorced when I was 7. After the divorce, I initially lived with my mom and spent weekends with my dad. When I was 9, my mom moved in with her boyfriend, and I was sent to live with my dad. At first, it was fine, because my mom would regularly meet with me, but over time, those visits became less. When I was 12, my dad introduced me to his girlfriend, who I could tell didn't like me. I didn't understand why. By then, I was only seeing my mom once every 3 months or so. My dad told me to get used to his girlfriend, but we never really got along. A year later, my dad told me I would be living with my grandmother, his mom, from now on, because his girlfriend was pregnant and wanted a calm house. I was angry and caused a scene. His girlfriend told my dad that I was always like this around her, which was a lie, but my dad believed her and shipped me off to my grandmother. I told my mom I wanted to live with her, but she said that she and her partner traveled the world all the time and that I needed to stay put for school. So I lived with my grandmother. My parents occasionally checked in on me, meeting me on my birthday or sending essentials until I was 16. After that, the contact became even less frequent. No birthday calls or money for essentials. My grandmother had to go back to work to support me. I had no idea that my dad had married his girlfriend and had 2 other kids, or that my mom had gotten married and had twins, until my grandmother told me. I started to resent both of them, but my sweet grandmother kept me grounded. She provided for me, ensured I graduated, and helped me get into a good college. When I turned 18, as a gift to her, I changed my last name to her maiden name. She wasn't happy initially, but accepted it later. My parents hadn't contacted me or grandmother for over a year and a half at that point. I went to college, graduated, got a good job, got engaged, and have generally had a good life. I haven't spoken to my parents in all this time. My grandmother passed away 4 years ago. I tried to text and call the only phone number I had of Dad, but it didn't go through, and I was the only family member at her funeral. Recently, I got an email from my dad and mom asking to meet and reconnect. I don't know how they got my personal email. My dad says he wants to apologize and attend my wedding, and his kids want to meet their big brother. He also mentioned that my mom wants to meet me and apologize as well. He even had the audacity to write that he was disappointed in me changing my last name, but understood it. He didn't even ask about his own mother. I've already moved on without them, hit multiple milestones in my life and career without their support. So I sent a reply stating I don't want him or my mom, added a few other harsh words, and told them never to contact me again. I told my fiancée, who comes from a big family and is very family-oriented, and she was upset, saying I was too harsh. She believes I should have given them a chance since it's been so long. We had a huge argument about this. She kept saying how family is important, and I should forgive and forget. Now, I have a feeling she might be involved with them, and she might be the one who gave them my email. I talked to my close friends, and all of them say I'm justified on my stance, but my fiancé's outburst is making me think about it. I will never understand how you can abandon your own child. Why have children at all if you don't love them and don't want to take care of them? Of course, OP did the right thing by telling them to get lost, and OP's fiancé should be more understanding and try to be in OP's shoes. Her family is important because it's huge and tight-knit, but not all families are created equally, and her belting this out at OP is the height of ignorance and privilege on her part. OP didn't have that experience, so she should be showing some empathy here. OP has every right to his hard lines in the sand, and if she can't accept those, then it brings into question just how much she actually loves OP. And now let's hear the community's opinion. Your fiancé's reaction is a big clue that she's tried to get you talking to your parents again. As her family is so important to her, she probably just doesn't understand how abandoned you feel. After so many years, you no longer have relationships with either of your parents. You need to discuss this, as she might be wanting them to participate in your wedding. Edited to add, I'm wondering if the parents are also thinking that OP could be useful to them in their old age. I keep finding myself repeating this, but shared blood is not an excuse for spilled blood. You are not the a-hole. Your fiancé needs to be told exactly what you went through. Your biological parents are not your family. Not the a-hole. Too many partners try to be do-gooders in these situations and put their noses into places they do not belong. You need to sit your fiancé down and have a clear conversation about your boundaries when it comes to your parents. You do not need to forgive and forget. She needs to respect your decision. Her family will soon be your family, and as long as they're good people, that's probably for the best. Sometimes the best family is the one you make. I, female 28, have been in a relationship with my fiancé, Tyler, male 42, for the last 4 years. He has 2 kids from a previous marriage. Kids are 8.5-year-old boy and 11-year-old girl. His wife passed away when his youngest was 1 year old. He met me 3 years later. His kids are wonderful and lovely, and we get along great. We live together. I do everything for them since Tyler works long hours. They call me Mom, but they are aware who their real mom is. We have her picture in their rooms, and Tyler talks about her to them all the time. We're planning our wedding. My father offered his condo in Hawaii to us so we can enjoy our honeymoon there. It was a very kind and generous offer. When I told Tyler, he was so grateful. Then he said, "I bet the kids will have a blast." I looked at him in disbelief and said, "Kids?" He said, "Yes." I said, "That's our honeymoon. I don't want to be a mom on my honeymoon. We can go on plenty of family trips later, but this is our honeymoon." He said, "I was honest with you from day one. I told you I'm a package deal. You can't just choose me and not my kids." I told him I understand, but can they stay with your mom for 1 week? Just for our honeymoon? He got very frustrated and said he couldn't believe how insensitive and selfish I was being. Am I the a-hole to expect to have a child-free honeymoon? Added later. Okay, I said I won't reply because I was emotional. I went for a long bath. I'm off today. I'm better now. 1, I was into him. I pursued him. I thought he was younger. He told me about his real age, his kids, his late wife from the first moment. He even said he would understand if I say no. I loved him. I loved how honest, kind, caring he was. 2, we don't have alone time or date nights. True, but it doesn't mean he doesn't say he loves me or he's not affectionate. 3, I decided to cancel everything. I don't think he's ready, and we need to have a serious talk. I also need to know if he can even have kids, or he had a vasectomy. Either way, we're not ready to be married. Well, sounds like if OP marries this man, they will never have alone time. They will never go on any couple trips, ever, without the kids. Well, OP needs to think if she is really okay with that. That's a big flag in my opinion. OP's fiancé is looking for a mom to his kids more than a wife for himself. Don't you think so, guys? And now let's hear the community's opinion and an update. Not the a-hole. Is that even a question? It's a honeymoon, not Thanksgiving. Run! It is one thing to neglect your kids and another to not realize that every environment is not appropriate for children to be involved. You will have further issues down the road regarding this, especially if you ever decide to have children with this man. He won't even hear you out, and you should be cautious about being with someone who could automatically cast you as an evil step-parent because you have boundaries. Not the a-hole. Sorry, but it looks like he just wanted a mom for his kids. Postpone the wedding until you can get him to understand that occasionally you come before them. Don't take them on your honeymoon. Update. Thank you very much for all the private messages and comments. I'm so glad I posted here. So many of you suspected that he has had a vasectomy. Well, I decided to have a serious discussion with him about everything last night. He said he has never cheated on me, and he never will. I asked him if he had had a vasectomy, and to just tell me. He didn't even deny it. He said, "Yeah, but you gotta understand, I lost my wife when my youngest was an infant. It was such a traumatic time for me. I wanted to make sure I'll never go through it again." I started crying. I asked him how he could lie to me all these years. He didn't even feel bad. He said, "Well, you never asked. You asked now, and I told you. Plus, what's the big deal? I have frozen sperm in the clinic, and it's a reversible procedure." I was floored. "You saw me taking pills, yet you didn't mention." He said, "Well, I thought you were taking pills because you have heavy period." I couldn't believe this man still blames me when he was the one lying to my face. I told him how unhappy I am, how burned out I am, and he uses his work hours so he can dump the responsibilities on me, and I don't even feel loved anymore. I gave him back his ring and told him I was done. He was shocked. At first, he thought I was kidding. Then he saw me packing my clothes at 11 p.m., so he started arguing that I should just wait a little longer, so by December he will know about his job. After that, we will go to a fertility clinic, and you will have your stupid baby. Then he started guilt-tripping me, saying stuff like his kids have already been traumatized once. How could I be so selfish and leave them? I didn't even bother answering. I left for my parents' place. He's been begging and saying he will change, he will be more involved, and asking me to come back. "You were their mom, come back, we miss you." I'm mentally exhausted. I can't believe I've been so stupid. I'm going to start finding a place for myself near my work. Thank you. I have 2 friends, Gabby and Shelly. All of us are 23 if that matters. We were roommates in college and stayed in the same city after graduation. While the 3 of us are close, I've always known that Gabby and Shelly are the closest. They have a really sweet friendship. Shelly is getting married, Gabby is the maid of honor, and I'm one of the bridesmaids. Over the weekend, I went with Shelly so she could look at wedding dresses. Gabby was supposed to come with us, but got called into work last minute. I helped Shelly pick out some dresses, then she went with the consultant to try them on. Shelly asked that I take pictures and videos on her phone to send them to her mom and Gabby. I was getting the camera ready when a text from Gabby came through. I didn't mean to click on it and was instantly going to click back out when I saw one of my Instagram pictures in their private chat from earlier that morning. Both were making fun of me for the face I was making and my outfit choice. It didn't appear to be very good nature. I admit, curiosity got the best of me, so I searched my name in the chat. I found multiple pictures that I, my boyfriend, or my mom have posted of myself, absolutely ripping them to shreds. Ranging from selfies to post shots to even a few baby pictures. They'd also make fun of me in general in terms of the way I talked, wore my hair, and the way I ate. This went back, as far as I could tell, at least a year. My heart broke. It all felt so juvenile and high school. While we all joke around, I would never do this to them, nor have they ever even tried to instigate these types of conversations with me about the other one-on-one. I was in tears. As someone who was picked on all through middle and high school, it just brought me back to a horrible place. I put the phone in Shelly's purse and brought it to another employee, telling her to tell Shelly that I had to go. I drove home and had a long cry. Shelly texted me by the time I made it home asking where I went. I said I was going home and we could talk later. When she did call a few hours later, she was understandably confused and hurt that I left. I told her what I found, explaining that I only looked further because of the initial text I accidentally saw. She went off on me for looking through her private texts and said those are none of my business. She also told me I shouldn't have left the store without saying anything. I said I didn't want to make a scene, but also knew I couldn't fake being happy for her. Shelly told me the texts were all in good fun, and clearly she loves me because I'm going to be her bridesmaid. She added that I'm only hurt because I chose to read all those texts. Later on, Gabby called me to tell me that I invaded Shelly's privacy and hurt her by walking out. My boyfriend and mom think I did the right thing by walking out, but obviously they're a little biased. I just want some unbiased looks. Was I an a-hole to look through the texts and then leave? These girls are not OP's friends. The only reason both of them got upset is because they got caught. They showed their true faces, so OP needs to believe them. OP handled it well by leaving and not making a scene. OP should not attend the wedding and cut them both out of her life. Not the a-hole. If I was in your place, I think I'd drop out of being in the wedding. It's one thing to jokingly make fun of someone one time, but seems like they have done this to you a bunch of times. And it doesn't seem like it was lighthearted. If it was, you wouldn't feel bad about looking through those messages at all. She handed her phone to you, and it feels like fate took the opportunity to expose them to you for who they are. Not the a-hole. Neither of these girls are your friend. They are deceitful, mean girls who didn't even have the decency to apologize after you found out that they were being mean to you and secretly ganging up on you. They are aggressors, and you are doing a disservice to yourself to continue relationships with either of them. Take out your phone, block their numbers, and take the time to find real friends who love and respect you. You don't need them, and they certainly don't value you, so don't give them a single second more of your energy. Love yourself and respect yourself enough to know that you deserve better. Not the a-hole. Drop out of the wedding and find new friends who actually like you.